know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. My intuition told me this. To trust the coach, he holds the gift. He knowing when to go with fits. So we knowing when to switch. This year we got the golden pick. Time to see what that pick about. Bad vibes get sent out. Only fans up in this house. We been waiting, yeah, we been patient. Now it's time to cash out, no discount. Super Bowl, yeah, we in route. I don't know when, but it's close. I don't want to overhype, but I just know I like it. So excited, he gon' notice now. You should notarize it. They say tour from that rock. Shout out to Samoa and Island. It's time to lay the smack down. You think he Dwayne Johnson. Time to be the people's champ. Hit him with the people's elbows. Stick together like it's Velcro. You think you could stop us? Hell no, all day I dream about sports. I think I need some shekels. Custom with some Dolphins colors. Just to let them know we here. Yeah. I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
To a time, to a time. Really hope he the man. Hope we found us a gem. Like the Heat found Bam. Wanna take time to thank Fitz, cause he put on the show. But the young man up, in the whole city know. Time to catch all the blessings. Cash out on the vest. Ball out, don't choke. Fins want all the smoke. Chris Gregg gave hope. Coach flow like spoke. Dan Marino still a GOAT, but to a man on go. Watch to a man throw. Watch to a man scope. Watch to a man dish shoot that we never ever seen before. Fans up, let's win. Born ready for a ring. Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6. It's damn week, use 10.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
So low, so low, so low, deep. So low, so low, so low, deep.
Hey guys, I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, The Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D, and we are live on this beautiful Throwback Thursday right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. What's going on, everybody? Super excited y'all are hanging out with me this morning. I'm your host, Stephen D, and we got a live one for y'all today. But before I get into anything, I do want to do my housekeeping stuff. So, hey, look, let me tidy up around the building. First of all, I want to say good morning to my Fins family and my Fin-laws. Can't do this without y'all. Thank you each and every day for showing up and supporting the #1 Miami fan morning show. Hey, if y'all are here and you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one right now that's looking at your phone while you're still in bed. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Talking about y'all, okay? Hey, if y'all want to sign up, become a member of the channel, do it today. There's plenty of seats at the table for you, okay? So make sure you guys sign up, become a member of the channel today. Join now. I would love to see you become part of the family. I have to hit my Vin Diesel on Fast and Furious voice on you. Family. Okay? So make sure you sign up today, become part of the family. Hey, if you want to donate to the channel and help the channel grow, there's 3 different ways you guys can go about doing it. 3. Way number 1, the YouTube live super chat, which is the $ down at the bottom of the chat. Way number 2 is PayPal, which is MSM Podcast Network. And way number 3 is Cash App, which is $ MSM Podcast Network. Okay. Also, want to give a big shout out to our sponsor of the program, Tail Greeter. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. They're involved in some college bowl games this year. For example, in Orlando on December the 17th, they're going to be involved in the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl. It's an amazing bowl in Orlando, Florida. Make sure you guys go check it out and all the information for it because it's going to be a lot of fun. They're also going to be involved on December 18th for the Boca Raton Bowl. And guess who's going to be there? Yours truly. That's right. Yours truly is going to be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do a pregame show there. I think it's Western Kentucky University versus Appalachian State. I think kickoff's at 11 a.m. in the morning. But yeah, we'll do a pregame show from there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So guys, come check us out at the Boca Raton Bowl. And then the next day is the Jets-Dolphins game. And guess who's going to be there for that? That's right. This good-looking guy right here. So, yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you go to tailgreeter.com or download the app today, and y'all can hang out with us. It will be a lot of fun. Now, I have a co-host today. If he would sit in his chair, I'm going to introduce him because normally on Thursday we have Throwback Thursday. Okay, now, obviously we're going into a bye week. And so we're not able to quite have a regular Throwback Thursday. But I didn't want to leave my man hanging because he's such a staple of Throwback Thursday. So the guy who looks like he's from the Force in Star Wars with his virtual background, I'm talking about my man D-Dub. What's up, D-Dub? How you doing, man?
Good morning, Stephen. How you doing? How's
Pretty
everybody
good.
doing out there? Finn Laws, what's up?
D-Dub in his voice. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You sound like a Wendy's Baconator commercial. That's all I know.
Hey, but you know what? One day I'm gonna let my son get on for a hot second. You think my voice is smooth? Oh my goodness.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
my
he's
goodness.
a part of you. That's why, D-Dub. I'm just saying.
Man,
All right.
he's
Hey,
got a radio voice.
Well, I have a face for radio, so it all works out. Hey, we got a big show lined up for you today. We got Daniel Oyefusi of the Miami Herald. He's going to be on here in a second. He's already in the back room waiting. Looks like a zombie. He looks like he didn't have his coffee this morning. I'm gonna get on him here in a minute. He gave me that look too. Like, what? Who are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? All right, and then I'm gonna bring on my man Richmond Webb later on too, and we're gonna have fun with Richmond Webb. So we got a great show lined up for you today. So make sure you guys are here for that. We're gonna have a lot of fun. All right. Hey, without further ado, from the Miami Herald, Daniel, what's up, man?
Man, why you gotta get on me like that?
Hey, man, you were looking like this in the background. I had.
Yeah.
All right, just a little bit. My bad.
I'm back home. So I had to drive my sisters to school in the morning. They woke me up a little earlier than I thought I would.
Are you in Maryland?
Yeah, I'm back home for the bye week, so I'm enjoying
Bro.
time off.
Hey, man, what are you? We got to go out and get some. How long are you here for?
I'm here till Sunday afternoon, then I'll head back.
Well, maybe we'll get together and we'll do coffee or something.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say I need it according to you, so.
Hey, man, well, I'll make it happen. Coffee on me. All right, so let's kind of get into the talk. All right, yeah. So, you were traveling on Tuesday, so you weren't here. We missed you. We were lost without you, Daniel.
I had to make it up.
Tell me, man, let's start from the past before we go into the future. What did you think of the game this past Sunday against the New York Giants, and what were your thoughts of it?
It wasn't. I wrote about it in my post game story. It wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing game. You once again see an offense that kind of bogs down in the middle of games, cannot get anything going. But they're really streaking on the strength of this defense. I mean, this defense is playing like a top defense. I mean, if you look at the stats from the defense during the 5-game winning streak, I mean they're literally like a top 3, top 2, top 1 defense. And when you have a defense that's holding guys to 11 points per game, turning the ball over 1 or 2 times, I mean the margin of error is so wide. Like you can kind of get away with that, and that's what we're seeing right now. And again, they're 6-7, they're right in it, they're giving themselves a chance. And I keep on saying, if they're going to run the table like you've been saying for a couple of weeks, it's going to be on the strength of this defense. Obviously, the offense has looked good at times. I think that they'll need to pick it up as well. But, I mean, when you're playing defense that well, you can get away with a lot of things.
Hey, man, so, yesterday we only gave up 10 points. And if you look at this defense over the last several weeks during this winning streak, they have looked so good not giving up a lot of points. What is your thoughts on how well the defense has played and how elite they played? I think they played top 5 in the NFL over the last 5 weeks.
No, most definitely. It's funny. Like I just don't. It's almost like I'm like you and a lot of other fans that are like, where was this coming from? Like, why wasn't this here in the first half of the season? And if you talk to Josh Boyer, Brian Flores, they say, oh, we needed to evolve. And I get that. I mean, you had Javon Holland kind of taking over for Bobby McCain and Eric Rowe at that safety role. Brandon Jones coming in. You had Jalen Phillips kind of getting acclimated. I know Raekwon Davis missed some time, but if we're being honest, like what is successful right now is what they were doing last year. I mean, they're blitzing, they're aggressive. They're stopping they're stopping the run on early downs and setting up second and long where they can be really unique in their blitz packages. And that's exactly what it was last year. They were playing a lot more zone earlier in the year, not blitzing as much, but it's like something clicked in the first half of that Buffalo game, and they're like, all right, we're gonna throw right at you, and if we get burnt doing it, then we're gonna get burnt doing it. But it's like we gotta be the aggressors, and it seems like that's what's been the case for the past couple of weeks. Again, I mean, when you're playing defense this well, I mean, literally a top 3, top 2 defense over the past month or so of the season. I mean, you can get away. I mean, if there's a stat that I keep on bringing out, they're 6-0 when they hold opponents to 17 points or fewer. So if you're doing that, if you're holding opponents to 17 points or fewer on most games,
they look so good doing it.
You're gonna win most games. This offense is still only averaging 19.5 points per game, which is not good. But if your defense is only allowing 17 points on average, you're gonna be in every single game you play.
Well, let me ask you a question about that. So the how elite the defense has been and how I think the offense is progressing, right? They're getting
I think so too. I really do. Yeah.
What do the Dolphins need to do over the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks to be like, hey, look, this is the route that we're going in?
In terms of offense?
Yeah, in terms of offense, to be able to say, you know what, hey, this is a playoff contending team.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know how much better this offense can get, truthfully. I mean, the offensive line is the offensive line. I know that some people don't want to hear this, but I do think the offensive line has gotten a little bit better in recent weeks, whether that's because Tua is getting the ball out quicker. I mean, somebody says a chicken and an egg situation. You can go back and forth over it, but I do think the offensive line has gotten better. I was talking about this on my podcast this week. I really do see the potential there. And while I don't know how much better it can get this season, if Devontae Parker can stay healthy, if Phillip Lindsay can come back and provide a little bit of a running game, I do think that this offense can be serviceable and complement this defense a little bit. I mean, we saw Devontae Parker. I mean, whatever you want to say about Devontae Parker being injured all the time, when he's in the game, he adds an element to this passing game that the other receivers don't. I mean, that back shoulder catch that he had toward the end of the game, they're not throwing that to Jalen Waddle all the time. They're not throwing that to Mac Hollins, to Albert Wilson. Like, those are the catches that the contested catches that Devontae Parker can bring. So that's just another element to your passing game that'll kind of boost that trusted receiver that Tua can rely on. And again, Phillip Lindsay looked pretty good in his debut 2 weeks ago. Obviously, wasn't able to play last Sunday, but if he can come and just give you something, I do think that while the running game isn't great, I think it's it's been good to see them execute in late games where like the defense knows that they're trying to run out the clock and they can't stop them. I think that that's been encouraging to see. This isn't going to be like an offense that runs for 150 or a lot of times even 100 yards per game. But if you can average 4 yards per carry, get yourself in ahead of the sticks on early downs. I mean, that'll be serviceable. And again, the offense just needs to be serviceable if the defense keeps on playing this well.
100%. Next question. So Patrick Laird goes on the DL.
Yeah.
What do you expect the Dolphins to do to either replace him or replace his roster spot at minimum?
Well, I think that his replacements are, I wouldn't even say replacements, but the people who are going to fill more of that role are on the roster. I mean, he was essentially the fourth running back on the 53-man roster after they signed Philip Lindsay. Obviously, Lindsay missed last game with an ankle injury, but he was back at the walkthrough this Wednesday. So you would think that would bode well for his availability next week. So they have him, if Savon Ahmed, and they also obviously have Myles Gaskin. So I think that they'll just go with those three guys. Maybe Duke Johnson gets a call up, but I wouldn't count on it. If I had to guess, I would say that maybe they keep that 53-man roster on. I mean, I don't even know where he is right now. I've not seen him literally since week like 4. Will Fuller, maybe he comes back. I don't know. I mean, they have him. They have Malcolm Brown. I'm not sure if he would come back on the 53-man roster because they have 3 running backs who they seem set on. Maybe they use that to elevate one of these defensive backs because they have had some injuries to their end of the roster guys. But I mean, I wouldn't make too much of the move either way. I mean, he was a third down pass blocking, pass catching back. They have 3 guys who can fill that role, but now it just kind of gives you more flexibility to maybe bring somebody off of IR or add some depth to a position where you may not have it right now.
100%. All right. So what do you know? Like, what do players do during the bye week? What can players do to kind of keep loose as well as not get into too much trouble? Bye weeks always scare me as a fan.
I was just thinking about that too.
Because it's like, all right, you're late in the season, you're trying to blow off steam. It's that time of year. You're going to go back home. You might, it always scares me a little bit, but what are your thoughts about the bye week and what players do and what they should be doing, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, first I'll start off with kind of the message that that Flores sent to the guys at post game. He was like, I just want you to kind of relax, get away from the game, spend time with your family, your friends, but be safe. That's the number one thing. Because it's a stretch run. We don't need anybody getting hurt or just getting into some trouble that kind of jeopardizes their availability for the last month of the season. But when we talk to guys like Landon Roberts or Xavier Howard, they were like, I'm not really doing too much. I'm gonna just kind of spend time with the family. Xavier said he's might do just do some Christmas stuff with his kids and just watch football this weekend. Orlando Roberts was like, I'm gonna self-scout. He was like, this is the time to relax, it's the time to keep on working. But obviously, the vaccinated guys are allowed to, go out and go to vacation spots and leave the state or whatever because they don't have to do the mandatory testing or whatnot. That's really the thing that comes to mind. You want to make sure that you're enjoying the bye week, but you're staying safe. Because if you haven't looked around the league, I mean, there's a lot of guys being placed on the COVID list, testing positive, missing time, missing games, and you don't want that to happen right now. I think the Dolphins have done really well in terms of avoiding that. Most of the players are vaccinated, which is why we've only seen like 2 guys laying on the COVID list all regular season, and that was the first week of the season with
Shaheen.
It was Shaheen and Austin Jackson. I mean, those are the only 2 guys that have landed on that list all season. So again, like you said, this is definitely a week where you want to enjoy your time off, but you also want to be careful because again, I mean, there's a lot of obviously there's the variant going around. Guys are testing positive more often in the league, and if you miss 4 or 5 days or whatever, that may mean you missing a big game coming up, and you don't want that.
Yeah, we don't need that right now. We need all hands on deck for these last few games. So let's get into it. Dolphins will come back, I guess, sometime early next week as a team, and they'll prepare for the Jets coming into town, which I'll be there for that game, by the way. So it'll be a lot of fun for that. What are your thoughts about the New York Jets coming into town and this game coming up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first thing that sticks out is Zach Wilson coming back and him being available. Obviously Joe Flacco started the last game, but I think there's a lot more intrigue when you have Zach Wilson in there. You have to kind of compare the 2 young quarterbacks. But really it comes down, this is another game where the Dolphins got to take care of business. They're going to be favored to win this game, going to be favored by a couple points. They should win this game. They're expected to win this game. They have to go out and win it. This is the game where you can get to 500 for the first time since week 2, and then it sets you up for a little tougher 3-game stretch to end the season. So again, you got to take care of business when we expect you to take care of business. If the Dolphins lose to like the Titans or somebody in 2 weeks, I don't think anybody's gonna like be up in arms and be like completely upset or whatever. Because I mean,
that's not gonna happen, Daniel. We're gonna win, Daniel. Okay, positive vibes only.
I hear you, but my point is they gotta take care of business when they're expected to, and they're definitely.
That's true. I agree.
So again, it's just gonna come down to, I keep on saying it, taking care of business when you're expected to. They lost a lot of games early in the season, but not a lot of people expected them to win, whether it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or losing to the Bills or whatnot. But these are kind of gimmies. Like, this is the part of the schedule where we all knew that they were gonna, or they could get on a run. I mean, when I did my preseason predictions, I literally had them going on like a 5-game winning streak up until the Tennessee game. So I mean, you gotta win these games right here and get yourself back in contention.
Let's talk about that. So the Jets and the Dolphins are going to play each other for the second time in 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks.
4 weeks,
3 weeks and 4 weeks. When you play a team in your division twice, right, every year, you're always going to play them a little bit differently every time. But when you play a team so close together, like the Dolphins are playing the Jets, how do you game plan for that? What are the Jets' intentions to come down to South Florida? Are they going to play any differently? Because they're going to have Zach Wilson. They're not going to have Joe Flacco this time. And believe it or not, there are some people, which I think is crazy, but there are some people that thought Joe Flacco matched up better against the Dolphins than Zach Wilson will. I don't get that either. I'm just saying that's what's, you go to Dolphins Twitter, which, by the way, you had a great tweet last week about Dolphins Twitter fighting.
He was beating up on that one.
Oh my God, it was hilarious.
He was beating up on that one ringer writer who wrote that story about Tua, man. I saw it. People were trying to blow it off. Nah, they was ganging up on it. I saw that, but I ain't want no part.
Daniel said I didn't want no heat. I didn't want none from Dolphins Twitter. So yeah, I mean, how do you game plan for playing a team so close together like that? Because you have to change your game plan. You can't run the same thing.
I mean, you want to stay true to yourself. Obviously, there might be little wrinkles here and there that you kind of maybe save for that second game. You don't want to, show them everything in the first matchup. But again, I mean, you have there's a specific game plan that you're going to stick to. And if you're the Dolphins defense, I mean, I think it's going to be the same thing. You're going to want to blitz Zach Wilson and make him uncomfortable, force him into some rookie mistakes. I do kind of understand where some Dolphins fans might say that it's a better matchup with it's a better matchup than Joe Flacco because maybe of his experience. I mean, Joe Flacco didn't, outside of the fumble when he got rocked by Brandon Jones, I believe. I mean, he didn't make a lot of like major turnovers. I mean, I thought he played pretty well given the circumstances, getting the ball out quick, kind of negating that blitz. So again, you have a guy like Zach Wilson who's a little more athletic than him. He can run around. He might have that superhero kind of complex where he thinks that he can extend plays and kind of do the impossible. And that could sometimes that could burn the defense, but sometimes that can come to bite the quarterback. So I do kind of understand what people's perspective is with facing a quarterback that's a little more inexperienced, and while he might have the more physical gifts, he hasn't seen everything that Joe Flacco has, so maybe they can confuse him with some of those blitz pressures and packages that they have.
All right, we could talk a little bit more about that Jets game when you come on next week. I don't want to, blow it all here this week.
Gotta keep some stuff in the bag.
Gotta give some stuff in the bag. I do want to ask you about the future, though. So let's play what if. Yeah. What if the Dolphins beat the Jets? Okay. And we go into Monday Night Football against the Saints. What are you looking at? With the Saints, the Tennessee Titans, and the New England Patriots. Like, how do the last 3 games match up for you? What are your thoughts? Be honest. I want to know what you really think about the last 3 games and how we match up against them.
Yeah, man. It's starting with the Saints. I mean, I think it's a very, very winnable game. Early when I did my preseason predictions, I picked them to win this game. I thought this was going to be kind of their coming out to win, like we're here on Monday Night Football in front of a primetime audience, and that was with Jameis Winston, and now with seemingly no legitimate quarterback. I mean, I think it's
Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill doesn't matter. They just
I do think that. I do think that defense is going to pose some issues. That's a very good Saints defense. But again, and obviously the home crowd, the Superdome, all that. I mean, it's gonna. Or I think they're changing the Caesars Dome or whatever it may be. But
whatever
yeah,
it's called now.
yeah, whatever it's called.
Like the Staples Center isn't even the Staples Center
Yeah,
anymore.
it's
It's so crazy to me. The
crypto.com or whatever. But yeah,
crypto.com's arena.
but regardless, that's going to be a really hostile environment. It's going to be a real test for them. But I really do think that the way, again, it comes down to the defense. I mean, I really just believe it comes down to the defense. I mean, the offense, as long as the offense doesn't turn it over, they're going to be in these games with the defense playing the way it is. And I do think it might be one of those low-scoring games, but I do think that it's a game that the Dolphins can definitely win. And if they win that, I mean, obviously you're 8-7. And your chances just keep on going up and up.
And then they go to Tennessee, and that's the one that kind of I don't want to say again, Daniel. I will never use the word scared. I don't think the Dolphins they never scared. Okay,
yeah.
And using the great words of Bone Crusher, they ain't never scared. But what I will say is, I really think that they probably bring up the biggest matchup against the Dolphins. Whether it's Tannehill or having Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Yeah, and that's the real X factor. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I was just looking up updates yesterday to see like if there's any update on when he might return, because they said it was like a 6 to 10 week injury and that he could return towards the end of the regular season. So as of now, I mean, I would expect him to not be able to play, but something might change the next 2 weeks. That's a really interesting matchup because obviously there's the Ryan Tannehill factor. If you look at like general stats, I mean, this doesn't look like a very good team. They started off strong and kind of had a bumpy middle stretch of the season, and they're kind of in the Dolphins situation where they're kind of fighting. And I mean, them in particular, they're fighting to win their division and are fighting for a wild card spot. So if you look at the metrics, they don't look like a really good team, but they have had a lot of injuries. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, those guys haven't been in the lineup for the past couple games, but it looks like they're going to be available. And again, the X factor is Derrick Henry. If he comes back, I mean, it completely changes everything.
Yeah, but we stopped Christian McCaffrey. We stopped Lamar Jackson.
Those are different backs, though. I mean, those are different backs. All the schemes are different. I mean, the Ravens, that's a QB run oriented scheme. The Panthers, I mean, they're going to do more traditional runs, but they also kind of use him as a pass catcher. I mean, Derrick Henry, we've seen this over the years. I mean, they're going to line up and they're just going to run it right at you. And while the Dolphins' run defense has improved, I feel like every team provides different challenges. And, Henry, I know that the Dolphins defense is playing well, but I mean, that's a bad boy in Derrick Henry. So if he can play, it changes a lot. But again, regardless if he doesn't play, I think that's another game that they can. All these games are winnable. We know that the Dolphins can win all these games with the way that they've been playing. It's just a matter of, are they going to be able to avoid the mistakes and play to the standard that they played over the past couple of weeks? And again, these games get a little bit tougher, so the margin for error kind of shrinks a little bit. You might not be able to get away with not scoring for a quarter and a half against the Titans or against the Saints or against the Patriots in the season finale, but you can kind of get away with that if you're playing the Jets, if you're playing the Giants, if you're playing the Panthers to an extent. You know what I mean?
What did you learn, if anything, about the Patriots against the Bills this past Monday night?
That they're still the top dog in the AFC East, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's true.
You're making me cry, man. I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to brag right now because we are on a Dolphin-centric show, but I did pick the Patriots to win the division, and I did.
Daniel, you did not.
I did. I'm sorry, I did. I didn't publicly broadcast it, but when I was going through my preseason predictions, I went schedule by schedule, week by week.
Daniel,
I did. I'm sorry. I'm
gonna have to think about this.
I might get kicked off this show. Everybody
it ain't gonna be me. It's gonna be Dolphins Twitter dragging you. I might have to lead the campaign. Get on Daniel. Boo this man. Boo.
I'm sorry, but I mean. But like I said, I mean, they're still the top dog. I know the Dolphins beat them in week 1, but I mean, they're still they have a system in place. They stick to it. And regardless of what you might think about Mac Jones or whatever, I mean,
Whack Jones,
Mac Jones,
Whack Jones.
but they're getting it done, and this is.
See, look, they even calling for you. They said traitor. No, that's right. They're gonna get on you, Daniel.
I'm sorry. I gotta keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real with you, whether you like it or not. That's one thing about me. But this is a Patriots team that's a lot better than
I look. Here's a reality. I I think that they're a good football team, but I am, again, not
I'm not
scared
saying
of
no. I
them.
didn't say they're great. There are no great football teams in the AFC. I will admit that there are no great football teams in the AFC.
Boo this man. I love it.
Boo this man. Throw it out. I'm sorry, y'all. But no, there's no great teams in the AFC, which is why, again, I think the Dolphins could win that game. But again, it's not going to be. I mean, we gotta. Again, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. If not for an Xavier Howard forced fumble, the Patriots win that game. Mac Jones looked very good. I know that there's a lot of Dolphins fans that will say
we can play what ifs, Daniel, all day long. I got you. But
no,
we got that
context
W, didn't we?
Key. Context is key. All wins count the same, but they're not created equal. If that makes sense.
That's true. No, it does. And so this is what I'm talking about. So let's go back to that Monday night game. Did you watch it from start to finish?
Yeah, okay. I watched it.
Here's what I found out about that Monday night game. Something that I already knew. Bill Belichick is the smartest head coach because there's a couple of key factors of that game.
Don't tell Sean McDermott that because he was not ready to hear that.
Bro, but he did. Sean McDermott screwed up, and he's the reason. And I'll tell you why. It's a couple of reasons. Number one, Belichick went for the 2-point conversion at the beginning of the game.
So they were playing from behind the entire game.
He gambled on doing that from the beginning.
What if he already knew he was gonna? Yeah, he already knew he was gonna do that.
That was in the game plan.
Exactly.
That was in the game plan. That was not something that was thought of. It was, let's go ahead, hit the 2-point conversion, because now what'll happen is as we go along, odds are they're not going to be able to kick a field goal to tie or win the game. They're going to have to go for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And he already knew what the weather was. Now, later on in that game, you saw them kick a field goal. What did they do the play before? They went to the left hash mark to get right where they wanted to go.
The wind was blowing.
100%, right?
Yeah.
You go look at what the Buffalo Bills did. Number one, their timeouts were used totally inappropriately in the second half.
Yeah.
That's one. Number two, when they went to go kick their field goals, they did it from the right hash mark. And so they were already screwing up from that standpoint there. And the third thing is McDermott just looked like he was trying to prevent whatever Belichick was doing the whole night. And so it was a chess match. That's what I saw. And the reality is, and I can't stand the man, but he is smart. He will play those little tactic games. I don't think that the Patriots were the better team Monday night. I think that they were the smarter team.
I mean, that's
what got them the win.
Being smarter plays a role in being better. There's a lot of people who thought the Bills were going to run away with that division. Before the season, I thought, truth be told, before the season, and this is where I hope I get some of the fans back on my side. I thought that this was going to be a division that was only separated by like 1 to 2 games from first to third, from Patriots to Dolphins to Bills to Patriots, Bills, Dolphins. I thought it was only going to be separated by 2.
You do realize that could end up being the case. Like
that's
that
what it's looking
totally
like.
End up being the
case. The division
case.
is a lot closer. I know that the Bills kind of, like you said, they have the Dolphins numbers, but from top to bottom or from first to third, the
Bills aren't the same. Here's the other thing: the Bills are not the same team that they were
the thing is,
earlier in the year.
But the thing is, it's a matchup oriented. It's a matchup league. So while, like, I'll say this, like, I mean, we're projecting really far, but if the Dolphins were to get into the playoffs and they were to play the Ravens again, that's not a good matchup for the Ravens. If the Bills were somehow able to win the division and then they played the Dolphins in the playoffs, I do not think that's a good matchup for the Dolphins. So it's really a matter of we're really starting to project.
I'm going to be real with you, Daniel. If Miami plays Buffalo in the playoffs, look out Buffalo. And I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I'm saying that because I think the Dolphins' defense is totally different than what they were when they first faced them those first 2 matchups. This is a different Dolphins defense. They are playing they're playing to the level that we all knew that they could at preseason, right? We all predicted if this team takes the next step, it's going to be because of defense taking that next step, right? We all knew that. And where were they for the first 8 games? I don't know. But they showed up after week 9. And so when they showed up after week 9, they've been dominating. They have been dominating, and they are the reason that we're winning football games. Now, Tua is a big part of that, too, because he's a game manager, but I'm not even getting into that. What I'm saying is I think the Dolphins' defense is better than the Patriots' defense. is better than
Yeah, they're playing better because the thing is we can't just completely scratch out the first half of the season. I mean, it did happen.
It did.
But I will say that right now, yeah, I don't know a defense that is playing as well as the Dolphins defense right now. You could throw the Patriots up there. I don't know what other teams you could throw up there, but yeah, the Dolphins defense, I don't see a defense playing as good as them. But again, it comes down to matchups. I mean, they've had a lot of good matchups in terms of facing Joe Flacco, facing Mike Glennon or whatnot. I still think that if and we're really projecting that I feel like we're getting way too far ahead of ourselves. But if they do sneak into the playoffs and they do end up playing the Bills, while it might be a closer game, I mean we saw the second time it was a closer game. I still think that the matchup isn't as good because of Josh Allen's mobility, the way that the weapons that they have on the outside, the inside, the way that they can really test the secondary, which has been playing well, but it's a lot tougher to face Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, and Emmanuel Sanders as it is like Darius Slayton and Evan Ingram, and I don't know who else.
100%. Tony and who else?
Yeah, I mean those guys weren't even playing, which is why I didn't mention them. But again, I think it's a matchup oriented league, and I do think that these matchups over the final 4 games, they do favor the Dolphins in a lot of ways, which is why I think that they can win the game. I mean, there were a couple of games where I thought that there might be slip-ups. I thought the Ravens game, obviously, I was like, I don't think they're going to win that game. We saw them win that game. I thought the Panthers game, because of the defense, might be a tough matchup, and the Dolphins offense had its way with them. Titans, depending on who's available, that could be a tough matchup for them. But I do think that it still favors the Dolphins, and as well as the Patriots game in the season finale.
All right, last couple of questions. I want to talk to you about other teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
I want to go through the quick divisions. The AFC West, Chiefs sit atop at 8-4. The bottom of the division is 6-6 with the Broncos. And then you have Raiders, Chargers all up in between there. They're 2 games out. Who do you think's going to win that division? And who do you think's also going to take a couple of playoff spots as far as wild cards are concerned? Because those teams play each other a lot the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're going to beat each other up. So what are your thoughts about that division? And preferably more the wild card, because I think Kansas City's going to win the West. I'm just interested to know how you think the Broncos, the Raiders, and Chargers will fare.
Yeah, I agree with you that the Chiefs they're kind of starting to hit their stride. They're going to run away with that division in the final couple weeks of the season. I do think that this is probably a 2 playoff division, with the Chargers taking up one of those spots, potentially like the 5th or 6th seed. The Raiders just seem like they're still continuing to kind of be in this free fall ever since the John Gruden and Henry Ruggs situation. And obviously, if you're a Dolphins fan, you want them to kind of continue that free fall because they have that head-to-head tiebreaker over the Dolphins. So you don't want to be in a situation where you have the same record as them. You want to finish above them. I don't really see the Denver Broncos stringing it together, and
Yeah, me neither.
I don't. So that seems like a 2 division, a 2 playoff team division, and obviously you have the Chargers probably taking one of those spots.
AFC North, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers, and Browns. Again, 8-4 to 6-6, and then everything in between. I want to focus on, do the Ravens lose? Yeah, I'm interested to know how you think this is going to fare, because I'll tell you the team that kind of scares me is the one that plays tonight, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's the reason why, man. That tie screws up everything.
Well, we don't know yet. We could have a situation. That's the thing about ties. You don't really know how it's going to impact you until you get to the final week of the season. We could have a situation where they have the same number of wins as a team, but they have 1 fewer loss, and the tie helps them. But we could have a situation where they have the same number of losses as a team, but 1 fewer win, and then the tie doesn't help them, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, so we don't know yet.
It doesn't make things clear cut for me, Daniel, and I don't like it.
Okay, I understand that. So I hear you on the Steelers. Overall, the defense is still kind of a mess. Ben Roethlisberger, I don't know what's left. When I look at the top of the division, I do see a scenario where the Ravens could start to fall off and fall into a wild card spot.
I think there's a possibility how bad Lamar Jackson's been playing that they don't even make the playoffs. Like, I think they could
Yeah.
free fall that bad.
I mean, they have a really tough schedule. I mean, because I know I was breaking it down on my podcast. I mean, they have the Browns coming up on the road. They have to go back to Cincinnati to play that game. They have to play.
And they got to play the Steelers again.
Yeah, they have to play the Steelers season finale. They have to play the Rams and the Packers. Those are all tough games, and they've been decimated by.
It would not surprise me if the Ravens free fall and don't make the playoffs at all, because Lamar Jackson has been playing like straight garbage.
Yeah, he's not been playing well at all. So there's definitely a potential to fall off. And I mentioned that in my podcast. If you're a Dolphins fan, you want the Ravens to fall off and you want the Bengals to win that division. Yep. Because if it's a possibility that it comes down to a tiebreaker, the Dolphins have that head-to-head matchup. So I mean, definitely this weekend, if you're a Dolphins fans, you're rooting for I think you're rooting for the Browns, honestly. Although the Browns are 6-6, I believe. You'd rather have the Ravens be in a tiebreaker situation with the Dolphins than the Browns or the Bengals. So I think it's definitely going to come down. I think ultimately the division winner is going to come down to the Bengals or the Ravens, and I think that's another 2-division or 2 playoff team division with whether it's Ravens, Bengals, Ravens. One of those 2 teams is going to take the wildcard spot. So now it's starting to get dicey. You're
starting to get dicey here.
I could be wrong, but that's just the way I see it playing out right now.
Let's go to the AFC South, last AFC. So we got Titans, Colts, and then the other 2 teams don't matter. So Titans play at 8-4. The Colts are 7-6. The Colts have the tiebreaker against us. Yeah. But I also think that if you look at the Colts, let me look at the Colts' last few games. It's the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Jaguars.
Those are 3 games that are going to be. Those are 3 games that are not gimmies. So.
Yeah, look, they could potentially lose 2 to 3 more, which puts them at 8 losses. And I truly think, again, as long as the Dolphins win out, they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Look, I actually think Titans still win this division. I don't think the Colts are going to be anything to worry about because I see them losing 2, possibly 3 more games. Look, I think you're right. I think it comes down to, the reality is the Patriots, Bills, and Dolphins. They could all finish 9-8, 10-7, in that area.
When you get to the AFC East, it starts to get a little interesting because the Bills have the 7th seed right now, and I believe they're 7-6. Is that the record? 7-6, right?
They're 7-5. 7-5.
If the Bucks beat the Bills this weekend, the Bills are out of the playoffs right now.
That's crazy.
It's right. Literally 5-6 weeks ago, this seemed like a division that was going to be won by the Bills in like week 14 this week. There's a possibility that entering week 15, the Bills are not in the playoff picture. So again, you need like 1 or 2 teams to like just completely like throw up all over themselves the final month of the season and to keep on winning. It's going to be tough. I don't see a scenario where obviously a lot of these teams are going to beat up on each other because there's a lot of AFC games, but I don't see a scenario where like the Dolphins win out and then, a lot of the teams in front of them keep on winning and they get, it's just not like mathematically possible. The Dolphins don't technically like control their own destiny, so to speak. We hear that all the time. They don't control their own destiny. So they're going to need like 1 or 2 teams to kind of fall down.
So because of the Pittsburgh win, if I'm correct, Dolphins, may have been the whatever it was. The Dolphins percentage, according to like the website that does the percentages of how what it'll be likely to make the playoffs. If the Dolphins win out, I think it's an 82% or 81% chance the Dolphins.
There's different. I think on 538, it's like. I think if they went out for 538, it's like 75, and I think that's because the Patriots beat the Bills.
It
was not good. That was not.
Yeah, that you're right. That's the one that hurt.
It got dicey because then if the Bills beat the Patriots, the positions would have been flipped, and the Dolphins have the tiebreaker over the Patriots. So now it's like you.
Well, here's the reality, right? They still got to play each other again. So it's not like that can't.
No, it's not. It's not set in stone at all by any means. It's not set in stone. So that
is there a matchup that you're watching this weekend, like you're gonna focus on this weekend?
Oh man, there's so many like AFC clashes. I was just thinking. I mean, obviously the Ravens.
Steelers and Vikings play tonight. We know we're going for Minnesota, right?
Yeah. I broke it down. So if you're like, if like even like there's a 49ers and Bengals game that which I think that's a funny matchup because if depending on how you
Yep.
feel, if you're gunning for the draft pick, you might want the Bengals to win. If you're gunning for the playoff position, you might want the 49ers to win. So I don't know. I feel like Dolphins fans might be split on that.
Nah, we want the playoffs, son. Playoffs all day.
Okay, I got you. You have like Chargers and Giants, which obviously it seems like the Chargers are going to be pretty favored, but you'd want the Giants to win that game. I don't know off the top of my head what other matchups are going on.
So we got Jaguars at Titans, which we know the Titans are going to win, but we'll root for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
We got Vegas at Kansas City.
Yeah, I think you'd root for the Kansas City Chiefs in that. You probably want the Chiefs to run away with that division and drop the Raiders below the Dolphins.
Ravens at Browns.
Again, I said that's kind of a toss up. If you think that the Ravens could free fall all the way down to like around 500 or 1 or 2 games above 500, you'd probably want the Browns to win that game so the Dolphins can have that head-to-head tiebreaker.
Bills at Tampa.
Obviously, you want the Bucs to win that game.
Detroit at Denver.
Obviously, you want Detroit to win that game. I mean, they're on a win streak right now.
And by the way, they're on a win streak.
They're on a win streak, so anything can happen. I mean, it's football, man. Anything can happen. I do think that this will be I think it will be a good weekend for Dolphins. I mean, last week there weren't a lot of results that really favored the Dolphins, to be honest, outside of maybe like Kansas City beating the Broncos. But it wasn't like one of those weekends where like the Dolphins didn't jump up in standings. I mean, they were 1.5 games out of the 7th seed entering 100%. Last weekend, and they're still in that same spot. But I think that we'll see a couple results that kind of favor the Dolphins, and whether it's maybe they move up to 12th or they kind of that gap between the 7th seeds, get small. I think we'll see like some good results finally. I mean, the Dolphins have been taking care of business, so it's almost like if you keep on taking care of your own business, hopefully like the football gods kind of repay you, and the stuff that's out of your hands, out of your control, start to kind of fall in your way. So I think that we'll see some good results this weekend.
Daniel, I appreciate you coming on to the show today and rescheduling while you're on vacation, still being a man of the people.
I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of the people.
No matter who you said was going to win the division. I can't believe you thought that team was going to win the division, but that's
I gotta keep it real. Wow.
Boo this man. Boo.
You want me to lie in your face?
Daniel, it wouldn't be the first time somebody has lied. Prestigious. You know what? Now that you said that, Daniel, I'll give it to you, man. Hey, look, tell people where they can find all your stuff, find you on social media, your podcast, everything.
Yeah. So obviously, if you want to read any of my work, you can go to MiamiHerald.com, Miami Herald newspaper. There we go. I appreciate the love. 1, 2, 3, 4 apps. I appreciate the love. Miami Herald, MiamiHerald.com, Miami Herald app, where you can read all of our work. If you're just interested in the sports stuff, you can kind of get a sports pass only, kind of a la carte sports, and go on the Miami Herald website and get more information on that. It's a Thursday, so we already have the Dolphins in Depth podcast up on Apple, Spotify. You can go on the website and listen to it anywhere where you get podcasts. I'm just breaking down the timing of the bye week, some thoughts on Tua. Alarm going off. Alarm going off. I was asleep. So a lot of good stuff from the Dolphins in Depth podcast. Still got some stuff coming out this week. I know it's a bye week, but we still got some content for you guys. So definitely check out MiamiHerald.com.
Hey, look, man, thank you so much for coming on. I love you, brother. You're the man, and we'll see you Tuesday. Tuesday.
Yeah, we're back to the regularly scheduled program.
Back to the regularly scheduled programming. Hey, let me know. Maybe we'll get together and we'll have some coffee and we'll post a picture on the Instagram on the gram that we're hanging out in Maryland. But then next weekend, I'll be down there next weekend. So I want to see you down there next weekend. All right,
it's cold up here, man.
Bro, you ain't never lied, boy. I
went outside. I was like, oh, man, I miss Miami. I need to get back to that.
You know what's hilarious about that? So I do my show in my bedroom here. This is the bedroom. I live in an apartment, and so it's a little nook. And where the nook is in front of a window, and I have the shades down right now. But it's freezing in front of this window because look, the draft of the air, right? I am freezing. It is cold here. And so
I got a hoodie on. I got some sweatpants. It is cold.
Solo every now and again will send me videos and people are wearing shorts and flip-flops. And I'm like, man, I hate you guys. I hate y'all that live in Florida. Y'all make me so jealous. So
in
jealous.
Florida, man. I'm ready to get back. Man, I love my family and everything, but this weather.
Boy, like I was. You know what? You know what's funny, Daniel? Here's the best part about working in Miami. Even in December, no matter what's going on, you still get to be in Miami in December, right?
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying. All right, brother, be good, man.
Yeah, you take care, man. See you.
All right, man. All right, everybody. That was Daniel Oyefusi of the Miami Herald right here on Miami Sports Music's #1 morning show, Clock Blockers. I love y'all. Hey, man, we got a big show still lined up. My man D-Dub, I don't know what happened to D-Dub. But D-Dub's taking, just so you know, D-Dub is taking care of his family down in South Carolina. So I know he's doing some stuff and he's there. But just know, D-Dub, you're always here on this channel in my heart on Thursday. So if he's able to get back on, we'll get him back on. If not, y'all already know he's the man. All right. Hey, look, coming up next, we're just waiting for him to get on, will be my brother from another mother, who I can't believe I can say that now, is Richmond Webb. So Richmond Webb is coming up next, which I am super excited about. That will be a lot of fun. So I hope that we get the chance to, we're going to ask him about everything. We're going to ask him about everything, and it should be a lot of fun. Let me, yeah. All right, he's actually going to come on at 9:30. All right, so we're going to wait another 30 minutes for him to come on. What I'll do right now is I will open up the chat for you guys, and I'll let you guys come on, and you guys can talk for 30 minutes. We'll have a quick, short panel, and and then when Richmond gets on, I'll kick everybody off. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here, and then, that's what we'll do. I'll open up the panel for 30 minutes for you guys. So, I want to bring on D1 and Pete because I heard they played each other, and it wasn't on my channel, so I'm so mad at them. But I do want D1 and Pete to talk, and so we'll do that. So D1 and Pete, get up here, and I'll talk to you all for a minute. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. The link is in the chat, guys, just so everybody knows. The link is in the chat. Pete said he can't come on, but I'll at least bring D1 on first. What's up, D1?
What's up, Steven? Good morning. Great interview with Daniel.
I know. I love him, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, I do too. I love his interviews, and he comes on here and everything like that. Like, I think more Miami beat writers need to do that.
Well, hey, I try.
Yeah. It was bad, Steven. It was bad.
I heard you. Here, I'm trying to. Did you post it on Twitter? The link.
I sent it to your.
Did you send it through my Instagram or?
Nah, your DM. I DM'd you on Twitter.
Was it on Miami Sports Music? All right, let me pull up.
Nah, Steven, on your Steven D.
All right, let me go back up. Let me go back up. There we go. D1 chosen 2. Got it. Okay, here we go. All right, hold on.
I sent you a screenshot.
Well, hold on. Let me share the screen. And D1 versus Pete. All right, so this is you playing. I'll just throw a little bit of the highlights up here. You played yesterday. You played Pete on Madden, right? Madden 22.
Yeah, on PS5.
So tell me, what was it like?
Early. I mean, it was a close game going into halftime, but once I figured out how Pete plays, it was over. It was over. Jacoby threw an interception on his first play. I mean, that's what Jacoby do.
And you were the orange team, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Jacoby threw a pick on the first play. You know how long, how long it takes for him to throw.
Let's go towards the end. Let me see what happened here.
I even put some of the highlights at the end. Once you they go to stats and stuff. Look at that, Steven. Look at the stats for Tua. Oh no, not this. Not this. Not the triple option with Tua. I thought he was gonna hit me, so I wanted to jump over
54-14. 54-14, bruh.
It's bad.
Oh my goodness.
See what happened when Tua got time in the pocket. You see that dot?
It was a dime.
That dot?
Are you just going playing your highlights for everybody?
Yeah. You know, there's
I love it.
It's bad. I even threw a 25-yard pass to Jesse Davis and he caught it.
Did you make him eligible? Did he report eligible?
Yes, I made him. He was eligible.
Those orange jerseys are fire, by the way.
Those are my favorite jerseys. I wish we wore them more. I don't know why we don't, but we have so many great jerseys. It's, like we should have at least one of our regular throwbacks, a color rush and our orange every year.
Bro, you straight up monstered him, bro.
I mean,
why you just replaying Tua in the pocket? I love it.
Well, the Dolphins O-line is trash, bro. I make quick decisions. I stay in the pocket. Yeah, you see that 30-point fourth quarter?
Oh, was he playing with Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, he played with Jacoby.
Oh my God.
He played with Jacoby. That's why I look so bad.
Pete, you're up here, man. What happened, Pete?
Hey, you see the name, Steven. What's going on? Y'all see the score? Y'all see how I beat D1? Don't let him lie to you guys. I was the orange team. Right. Hey, real talk. You did your thing, D1. I can't take anything away from you, but we're going to get it going. We're going to get another rematch, and I'm going to play you for real. I just had too much going on. You heard it.
You see what he said? I'm going to play you for real next time, D1. I'm going to play you for real.
I was trying. No. Let me speak facts. I was trying to play for real. I was trying to be for real, but I just had too much. I had my kids on top of me, everybody, so I really couldn't really focus and dial in. Me and D1 going to get it all over. Hey, but you saw the super chat I gave you, Steven?
Hey, man. Yes, I appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much.
No. I just wanted. I didn't hear you. I didn't see you guys read it, but it was
playoffs. All I know is our offense is getting healthy and defenses are mad. They're getting sliced and diced by the Pineapple King Tua. I love it.
That's all I want to talk about.
Pineapples should go on pizza.
Oh my God, Tua is getting these. Y'all know how I feel about Tua. But think about if Tua is able to get a fan mad, think about how mad he's getting the defenses he's playing against. He is absolutely taking these guys out of their game. He's getting them out of their mojo with those 2-yard passes to the point where these defenses are so frustrated. They're coming out on social media.
Pete, you're breaking up. See what happens, Pete? See, even God
Who came out on social media?
I don't know. Pete dropped. I did not get Pete off. Pete dropped. Let me bring on Estefan. Estefan, what's up, Estefan?
What's good, Estefan?
I'm not ready yet, man. No, I'm just playing. What's up?
You can only use that joke so much, Estefan.
Hey, bro, that's my line. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Hey, Pete, sell the PlayStation, man. Sell the PlayStation. That's all I gotta say. I'll take it.
Pete had his daughter watching the game, right? She like, Daddy, what color are you? Pete was like, babe, I'm in the orange. I'm like, you know what? You're in front of your kids, Pete. I'll let you have it. Yeah, little one. He the orange. He in the orange. I don't want somebody kids to, see their father get beat down like that. That's bad.
Hey, guys, I do want to say real quick, just to bring up some nostalgia for us. This is the anniversary. There's a big anniversary today.
Of a game?
Of a game.
Is it a Jet?
Of a game.
Oh, my God. Is it the anniversary of the Miami Miracle?
It's the anniversary of the Miami Miracle. Let's play it. Let's play it one time for the people.
Play it for the beginning.
I think you should play TD's version.
What's TD's version? I think I've seen. Didn't somebody make a cut up of all the Dolphin YouTubers reacting to that play?
Yeah, somebody did do that. I don't know where it's at though.
Yeah, that's lost in the ether somewhere.
Todd and Joel, I'll bring you guys on here in a minute. I'm just trying to play this for everybody. All right, let me.
Somebody, I don't know if anybody watched Secret Base. They like do moments in sports history and break it down. Even though the play could be 10 seconds, they'll talk about every moment to reach that point. And they did this 2 weeks ago.
Can you hear it?
Tannehill.
Yeah.
And this will end it after the shovel, or will it?
Oh, look at that. Kenyon, man. Oh, they go Frank and Gronk.
Let me tell you, I was at this game.
You what? Oh, my.
I was at this game.
Bro, I had a friend that was at this game, right? So
I have the picture right here in the corner. Look, I got the picture right up here.
My boy, he was at this game, right? And he was with his mother. So his mother just wanted to leave. The mother wanted to leave. He wanted to stay. So, because everybody else was leaving, they wanted to beat everybody outside and leave. So he left the stadium. He said when he was in the parking lot, all he heard was a roar. And he's like, oh my God, I hope I didn't miss nothing. I'm like, bro, you missed one of the greatest plays in Dolphins history because you wanted to leave early.
So
Stills with a perfect
I'll watch the
lateral
replay
here.
one more time here.
Gets it to Parker, then Parker to Drake, and from 50 yards away.
Kenyon Drake will
gonna
forever
run
get
through
free
the
beers
entire
in South
Patriot
Miami.
defense.
Bro, I'll never hate Kenyon Drake, bro. I'll never hate Kenyon Drake. He'll always be remembered. Remember, he hated that he threw that ball away. That was
Gronkowski, he didn't have the angle.
They go that $50,000 ball he threw away.
All right. So real talk, right? So real talk. I'm at the game. I'm sitting there with my wife. All right. You guys see the picture in the back. There's the picture. Here's the tickets. Okay. I was at this game. So I'm at the game. I'm sitting, I don't know, about 13 rows from the field. 14 rows from the field. And I'm there with my wife. And my head's in my hands. I'm not even going to sit here and lie and say it's not, right? Like,
of course, it was 7 seconds left.
I'm depressed. I'm like, and so my wife turns around and she's like, stand up. The game's not over. And I told her, I was like, baby, I don't know about you, but I've been watching Dolphin games for a long time. This game's over. Okay? Don't sit here trying to BS me and give me some hope when there ain't none. Okay? But I was there. All right? I was there. And so as I'm sitting there, 7 seconds comes on. Tannehill gets there. You see the shovel pass, and I'm telling you, I've been in an earthquake before, but the ground started, like hard rock started shaking.
Wow.
It started shaking.
Wow.
And it was just pandemonium. And I sat there with my mouth open. Could not believe what had just happened. And my wife turns around. She said, I told you, don't you ever. And she did. She called it. She said that the Dolphins, and look, here's a like, it is the greatest game I have ever been to. Like, it was unreal.
It's one of the greatest games I've ever seen. I wish I was there at that game.
I was there for every home game that year. And it was awesome. That year we won every home game except for one, which was Detroit. I think we lost to Detroit.
I think that's the same year that Miami. I went to a Raiders game. Is that the same year the Raiders game where we came back from like 17 points?
So here's what happened. And I'm gonna bring everybody in the back here in a second. So what had happened is week 1 was the Tennessee Titans game.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was the longest game in NFL history.
Yeah,
which was my wife's first game, by the way. She had never been to an NFL game. I take her
that game like 5 hours. It was 5 hours.
It was 8. It was 8 hours. That game started at 1:00 and didn't end till after kickoff of the Sunday night game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the reality of that. Right. We went to tailgate, so we were at the stadium at like 8:30 a.m. So we were at the stadium for 12 hours that day, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. My wife was not happy because she's like, I can't do this. This is too much. And for me, I'm in overload, right? Like, this is great for me. And so we won that game. And then the following week, or the week after, was the Raiders game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one where Wilson. They give the high five to each other.
Yeah,
for the touchdown.
So
that's a moment, right? Like that's a moment in Dolphins.
Well, I was at that game. I was going crazy in that Raiders game, bro. That was my first game at Hard Rock. Ever seeing our boys in person in our home stadium, because I usually just see them in away games, and it was crazy.
And then after that, later on that year was the Chicago Bears game where we won on the field goal in overtime, which was great. And then obviously the Miami Miracle. So 2018 was an amazing year to be a Dolphins fan. And an amazing year to be a season ticket holder because it was just awesome going to almost every game.
I went to Houston. We got beat down by the
Texans.
Deshaun, bro. He tore us up, bro.
Yeah.
I was so pissed off. I was just slumped in my seat, man. It was when Brocktober was playing. You remember?
Yeah.
It was Brocktober, man. Yeah, that game was disappointing as hell, man. We had a couple of moments where we got to cheer Dolphin fans, but for the most part, bro. Them Texans fans are relentless, bro. They talked a lot. All right, I get it. You're blowing us out, but bro, the shit talking that was going on, man, at that game, man, I wanted to fight somebody when I came up out of that place, but it's what it is, man.
Hey, swear jar. Joel, Todd, what's up, gentlemen?
Hey, what a great week to be a Miami fan all the way around.
I know, right? It is.
We got the Hurricanes with the new coach and new athletic director. We got the Dolphins on a 5-game win streak, going to get healthy for the rest of this down the stretch.
Yep.
And the Heat beat the Bucks.
It's going to be good, bro. You ain't got to tell me. I'm excited. And the Heat beat the defending champions last night. Yes, they did, Joel.
Without Butler and Bam.
Yep. And no Herald.
1, 2, 3, 4, Epps. Get back up here, Epps. I was about to bring you on, Epps.
Steven, now that you bring up those games, as much as we hate Adam Gase, he had some games that were like,
that was his only good year, bro. That was his only good.
Well, 2016 year. He made the playoffs.
Yeah,
he had some games.
And I was, by the way, I was at that game too. So I just, it was funny. So
the Bills game where we rushed for 200 yards, where
No, I went to the playoff game. I went to the playoff.
Oh, you went to the playoff? Okay,
in Pittsburgh.
Where Matt Moore got smacked up.
Oh,
with Tyler Thigpen, baby. Tyler Thigpen.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you. So y'all remember what got? So let me bring in Alexander Rene Diaz, and my man, the Tua president.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, Estefan, I got one question to say. How about them Knicks, boy?
Woo!
How about them Knicks?
First of all, you don't win in the regular season, bro. And that was a back-to-back. So
first of all, Spurs.
That was a
don't ever
back-to-back.
come in here
Actually,
talking about the Knicks.
We had a streak around the same time the Dolphins were on this streak. So y'all better pray that them Spurs keep winning.
Oh man!
No, we are not we're not going to attribute the Spurs winning to our
Epps,
hot streak. Okay?
Epps, get back up here, Epps.
But I just want to say good morning to y'all, and also Steven, it's funny you mentioned that Tennessee Titan game, right? 2018. That was the third year I was a season ticket holder, and me and my wife got into a huge argument at that game too, because
so did my wife. My wife and I got into a huge argument
because she had to go to work. She had to go to work that day at like 4:00, and I told her that we were gonna be out of there by like 3 something.
Yeah,
no,
sure wasn't.
And I said, you know what? Just go ahead and take the car, and I'll go ahead and Uber back. Back to Pompano after that game.
She wasn't trying to hear that, was she?
No, she was not trying to hear that. So she grabbed the keys out my pocket. And she said, deuces. And she walked I've never seen a woman walk as fast in my life as she did down that ramp. And I'm like, oh my God, I got
what? I tell people all the time, right? Like Miami Heat is another Heat. South Florida Heat is like it's another Heat, right? So my wife, who doesn't like heat to begin with, was not used to that heat. And so I told her to go tailgating with me, drink. Let's go to the game. We get into the game. It rains. She gets wet. And now there's a 2-hour lightning delay. So she was not happy, son. Not in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, and Steven, just to rub it in a little bit, I'm outside right now. Nice short sleeve shirt.
I hate you, Todd. I hate you.
I'd rather be in the snow right now, to be honest with you. I miss the snow. I miss the snow.
It's 32 degrees here, bro. It's dumb cold here.
The game I went to when I came down there in 2018, that Raider game. Well, that Saturday, I went to the Miami Hurricanes game. They were playing FIU that week, and I went there with my friend. He's like I said, he's a diehard Hurricane and Dolphin fan. And now this is October, like the first week of October. Remember, I'm coming from Jersey. In October, it's like already like 40 to 50.
Hold up, D1. Even my wife just put, it wasn't a pretty scene. It was so bad. Boy, that brought up some bad memories, boy. I'm trying to tell you. And I always be like, let's take the kids to a game, right? Because my kids have never been to a game. And she's like, if you want to have them out there for 12 hours, that's on you.
Hey, at least she was a trooper and went and lasted the distance.
Yeah, but she also really didn't have a choice because we didn't drive. Like, it wasn't like we drove there. We took an Uber there, or we were with Solo, and Solo wasn't leaving the game early.
I really thought that they were actually going to postpone that game because
me too.
I really think it should have been postponed because, as an athlete, you stop, play, you run, stop. After 2 hours, like it takes a toll on your body after a while.
So it's funny you say this because I was having the conversation. My wife and I are like trying to figure out what the next move is. Like, I want to move down to Florida, but it's so expensive to move down there. It's not financially feasible.
Don't do it.
I want to, but it's so expensive down there. So
Texas is the way to go now.
It's not looking like it's going to happen anytime
soon. Not in Jacksonville. It's not expensive.
But one of the things that I always find funny with her is
exactly.
I'm like, I want the kids to go to games. I want them to get used to that heat. I want them to get used to the Florida
heat. That heat is something different, bro. It's different.
Another heat. It's another.
Like you in Baltimore, right? You in Baltimore, right, Steve?
I gotta tell y'all a story about that heat. I gotta tell you guys a story.
And like I said, when I went to that FIU game, my boy was like, "Bro, you picked like the hottest day of the year to come down here." And I'm like, "Bro, is it?" It was like 100. It was like 100 degrees that day, that Saturday.
No such thing.
You guys remember the 2012 game, the Rams? Remember the 2012 Rams game? Right?
No.
All right, so that was me and my wife. That was actually our first game together. We went to, right? And there was obviously during the national anthem, it was all of a sudden it just starts pouring rain, and this is before they had the overhang. They had the canopy over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got soaked. We were absolutely soaked during the national anthem when it was pouring. Next thing you know, after the game, the next day after the game, she will say she went through the oven. She was burned. Chris, her friends were looking at her next day at work saying, did you go to the beach or something? Because you look burned like hell. And she's like, no, I went to the Dolphin game and the sun was right on her.
You can't prepare for that heat. And here's the other thing too. So the deep end, right? The deep end where all the super fans are. Gorilla Luke, shout out to Gorilla Luke, everybody. Stripe, Doll Freaky, all of them. It is in the sun. And so those September and October games, bro, they are like, I don't know how Gorilla Luke does it, real talk, because
how you wear all of that?
Yeah, I was trying to wonder that myself.
And not get heat stroke.
He wears
but Steve,
it, right?
I'll tell you this though, the difference is, it could be hot. Like it was hot, but it's a different kind of heat up north when it comes to the humidity. When the humidity is high, you can barely breathe up north if it's on a hot summer day. And it seems as though Miami don't have a high humidity. It's just hot.
No, it's real high humidity in Miami. But the thing is, I grew up in it, so I was used to it. I used to play football in full pads at summer workout for my high school team. So when you do that and you go to a game, it's nothing.
I just feel like
we're used to it.
Andrevius,
you come up to Jersey.
How long have you lived down in Florida, Andrevius?
My entire life.
All right, so for you, so that's not a fair statement because your body, you've been used to it. So for you, you're accustomed to it. But if you went to Arizona, I guarantee you would say Arizona is ridiculously hot because it's another type of heat there. It's not the same heat.
I feel like I can deal with any heat. I can't deal with cold. That's what I can deal with.
You know what the funny thing is though is I can deal with the heat. I can deal with it with the best of them. I don't like cold at all down here.
Cold is the best. Cold is the best thing.
I'd rather be hot than cold, man. Screw that cold weather.
When I was a kid at 14 years old, when I was living in New York, man, I used to go out in my shorts and my tank top in 20-degree weather.
Y'all crazy
and go
crazy, just crazy,
bro. That's not because Andrevis, you the only one wearing a towel or a throw, and it's probably like 60 degrees, and you think it's cold.
Yes, it's cold.
But you
at 60 degrees, that is a nice day up here.
Andrevius is wearing one of those Eskimo jackets and everything where you can just see his face.
And it's only 60 degrees.
Just like
Look
that.
at him. There you go. What's the weather right now? You gotta throw on. What's the weather right now?
Hold on.
I bet you it's like
80s right now.
I bet you it's like 50.
No, it's outside at 75, but in my house the thermostat's on like 68.
Andrevis, what part of Florida are you in?
68. That's a beautiful day.
What?
What part of Florida?
I'm in Broward. Fort Lauderdale.
Bro,
tank
tops up here, bro.
Hey, I can't complain, man. It's 75 here too.
Hey, so I'm at 70 degrees here in Jacksonville, and
I'm not.
You know what y'all can do? Because
I'm really not liking y'all.
Hey, I'm about to throw $1 at the swear jar. Y'all can kiss my ass. That's what y'all can do.
It's freaking 44 degrees right now.
Steven, if you honestly, Steve, why don't you ever like try honestly like Texas? Texas becoming the new Florida now.
Because it's not Miami. It's not Miami.
Honestly, Steven, if you want to look for something, look in Florida, look at Port St. Lucie area.
Yeah, Port St. Lucie area.
It's only about 2 hours away from Miami, and it's affordable.
Y'all ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. Okay.
All right, man. Hey, tell Richmond he needs to get into the Hall of Fame for us.
Hey, he's listening. Y'all can say for the next 20 seconds, say whatever y'all want to Richmond.
He definitely needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Richmond needs to get into that Hall of Fame, man. He needs to get into the Hall of Fame. I'm pulling for him.
Can we clone you? Can we clone you?
I have a suggestion.
I have a suggestion, Mr. Webb.
One of y'all's tailgate days, y'all need to have a Richmond Webb Hall of Fame.
Can he become the offensive line coach?
I know, get out of here. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all enjoy the conversation I'm about to have. All right, y'all crazy. All right, let me bring on the man, the myth, the legend himself. I love this man. He's a part of Miami Dolphin allure, galore, whatever you want to call it. He is the man, Richmond Webb. What is up, Richmond?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You eating breakfast, man? You make me some?
Look, oatmeal. You can have some. I figured
Send it first class, man. I expect to hear by noon, okay? What's up, man? How you been?
Bro, I'm good. This last month and a half.
Been fun.
Way the Dolphins playing, everybody should be good. I mean, we went from left to a hard right, and we ain't turned around since. So everything's good. And I just heard the gentleman in the chat before you brought me on. I appreciate the love everybody showed me, this and that. So thank you very much, and I appreciate that. But now it's good. I was happy to see I was a little concerned about the Giants game, and the only thing I kind of thought about when I played was that was the game before the bye week, and typically with any team or whatever, not just the Dolphins, the week before the bye week sometimes is hard because guys got to stay focused. But normally you're trying to plan: are you going out of town? What are you doing that bye week? This and that. So you can kind of lose focus, but for them to maintain and play the way they did, and the defense didn't miss a beat, and Tua spreading the ball around, it was good to see Parker back. I mean, I'm good, bro. I'm happy.
Look, it's so funny that you say that because Tua in his post-game press conference, I think, said, hey, look, it's good that we have a bye week now. Injured players get a time to rest, but he's like, I also don't like it because we're on a win streak right now, and I don't want to mess that up at all either. And so I think it's funny because I think players are just as, understanding of streaks and don't want to mess up routines. And let me ask you, when you were playing, were there people that didn't, maybe clean their socks or do something that was like, hey, we're on a win streak, we can't mess this up?
Yeah, even not even with a win streak, it's just even getting prepared for a game. A lot of guys go over early, work out, do this. Everybody has a game day ritual most of the time. Not so much for practice, but for game day, a lot of the receivers, fix their socks, look sweet. Big boys couldn't do that. No matter what we do, I always like the receivers and the DBs because their uniform looks like what it's actually supposed to look like. And I was like, wow. Everybody had a game day ritual, but I do understand that when you in a rhythm like that, you definitely don't want to break it up. So I truly understand. But most of the time we had bye weeks. Miami, we would always get a bye week like somewhere between the 4th and 6th weeks majority of the time. I mean, ours always came really early, but this was kind of surprising. This one's pretty late, but like I say, we got Parker back this week, and hopefully we got Preston Williams. I don't know what kind of situation he's in, but it's other guys that hopefully this extra week gives them an opportunity to get back in there. And we keep adding weapons and get ready for this last 4.
100%, man. We got 4 more games to go, and maybe even a 5th if we can.
4 plus. We might say 4
plus. Yeah, I like it. 4 plus. I like it. All right, let's kind of talk. Let's take a rewind on the season here. Let's talk about the team. Team started out 1-7, and it was not the start any of us had thought that they were going to have. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Houston game comes, and then the Baltimore game. And the light switch just flips. Where was this team the first 8 weeks, Richmond? Like, what happened? Because this is the team I thought we were in preseason.
Yeah.
But this isn't the team that was there for the first 8 weeks of the year. And I don't know what happened.
It seems like, and I'll put it like this, because I do go back and I do kind of reflect. The close games that we won last year, they didn't go our way this year. And I'll give you an example. Jacksonville was one. Played that game, lost last-minute field goal. I think next week we play Atlanta. Deja vu. Last-minute field goal, they kick it. They win. I think this year we fought, get back in the Raiders game, but that one wasn't as close, but we lost that one. But the year before, we win that game. So it was a couple of games that if we win those, instead of being 6-7, maybe we're 8-5. I'll just say 2. I know the Jacksonville and the Atlanta
game.
That makes a huge. We're 1 game out of, leading the division. So, at times something like that's gonna happen. The good thing is, even though we went on that long streak, I don't think the guys are focused on, man, if we would have won this game, if we would have won that game, this and that. Right now, they've got the right energy. They're on a streak, and they just said, hey, we just going to keep playing, and whatever happens, happens. They still got a possibility to make the playoffs. And as long as they keep taking it 1 game at a time, I think they're going to be fine.
Let's, what's up with Jason Sanders, man? Is it, he's just not hitting field goals, or is it, because I felt like we thought he was really, really good. And then this year he's fell off, man. He has fell off, and I don't know what to say about him. There's some of the fan base that says, all right, he's not reliable. Let's get rid of him already. And there's some of the fan base that's like me, that's like, hey, I think he's just in a rut. He's not as confident as he was this past years, but he's still like, to me, it's not like he's missing him short. He's missing them close. They're close misses.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Jason Sanders in the kicking game?
It could be just a little thing he tweaks. I still think he's a really good kicker. It's just for some reason they're not going through the uprights a couple times. He has missed, several this year, and that's uncharacteristic of him. So anytime you start playing a way that you kind of spoil them or condition them that, this guy's reliable, this and that, and then you kind of go through a little streak like that. A lot of people start questioning this and that, but I think he's going to figure it out and he'll be okay. The good thing is he keeps playing, and, you got to believe in yourself. If he starts doubting himself or whatever, it's going to go from bad to worse. So long as he keeps believing and knowing that, he's better than what his statistics show this year, I think he'll be okay. But we had a kicking coach. Mike Westhoff was the special team coach, and then we brought in a guy that was really good, Doug Blevins, and he would work with especially like place kickers. It could be, I don't know, it could just be a hair off, or maybe something. Maybe he's not keeping his head down. I don't know, because I don't know that much about kickers.
Well, the placeholder is different this year. He's got a new placeholder,
and that could be a huge difference. Just if you're not getting it down right, and everything's just about got to be right sometimes for that ball to go through and people don't really realize that, but it could be the holder. It could be, but I don't know.
The laces were out, Richmond. They were out. The laces were out. All right.
Yeah. That's it. So that's a little bit out of my league. I just know it's supposed to go through the uprights, but I like to tell you.
Hey, man, so let's kind of get into these rookies, man. This rookie class just looks so dominant right now. You go to Jalen Waddle, who is second in the NFL in receptions, not rookies, the NFL, right? And then you have Jalen Phillips, who broke the rookie sack record for the Miami Dolphins. And then Javon Holland has been a beast himself too. Why? It was funny because during the losing streak, there was so much heat that Chris Greer was taking, and also the coaching staff for not developing players the way that they should. And now this rookie class looks like it could be one of the best rookie classes of all time in the NFL. And so what are your thoughts about, this rookie class?
They struck gold. I mean, that's almost going 3 for 3 in baseball, and you like in the World Series, and you hit 3 home runs. Like you said, Jalen Waddle,
Phillips,
and Javon Holland, all of them. I mean, but the good thing is, these are the picks that you want to hit on, your top draft picks, not your 7 and 8 rounds. Oh, this is a great guy, but you miss on your first round. These are the guys that you expect to produce this and that. And the good thing is Javon Holland is playing like a veteran. I mean, he really picked it up and adapted. Jalen Waddle, I mean, really all of them. And when we got Phillips in the draft, I saw him, and that was his thing, rushing the pass. I said, that's all he would do. If I send him to the open side of the offensive line, I just need you to get up the field. I don't need you to try to cover nobody and flag. Rush, get to that quarterback, whoever it is. That's what it is. That's what you do well, and that's what we're going to actually do. And man, he's really. I think he's got 5 or 6 sacks the last 2 or 3 games. So
yep, he's got 6 sacks the last 2 games, and I want to say he's in that 8.5 right now.
Yeah,
and
you got 4+ left. 4+.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, he easily could end up in double digits, which he should. And then on top of that, Javon Holland. I'll be honest with you. I think Javon Holland is the steal of the draft this year.
No question.
Get him in the second round.
Yeah,
he's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah. And it just shows you what winning does. I mean, like you said before, they were calling for Coach Flores, Chris Greer head, and now we won 5 in a row. And you look on social media, you don't hear that as much. But before, like you said, you was hearing they're not doing this, they're not developing talent. They need to be fired. He needs to be gone. This and that. 5 games later, it seemed like it's just quiet.
Oh, how the ships have swayed, and that's what football is, right? And that's what part of being the fan base is part about is right or wrong or indifferent. It's just the reality of when you're losing. I like that.
You see my man on there?
Now, all right, we got Jason Taylor.
Okay, that's all you need right there. Yeah, ain't nobody else getting no love. That's JT.
JT, I like it, man. Okay, so let's talk about Tua's play. So Tua obviously been completing 2-yard passes to the left, as Logan Ryan put it, and his hater self of the Bills. And I think Tua looks great. I think he's managing the games well. He's not the guy that's going to go out and throw 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he's also not. I don't think he'll lose you the game either, right? And so he's not throwing interceptions. He's managing the game. He's playing the game that is presented to him, and I think he looks really good. What are your thoughts about Tua right now?
I mean, I don't have an argument. I've always liked him. I liked him from when he was at Alabama. And he's, like you said, he's a game manager, this and that. And this is what I want people sometime to focus on, because, like you said, a lot of people saying, well, he's throwing these little passes, this and that. At the end of the day, we winning. And I can say it's just like Stephen D. Just say you're an analyst, this and that. Say you make $100,000. I'm a football player. I make $100,000. The doctor makes $100,000. At the end of the day, it's still $100,000. We all got different deals to do or whatever, but at the end of the day, a win in the column is a win in the column, and that's all that matters. but like I said, we know as Dolphin fans, we got some things. We got to tighten up the offensive line, and we got to have our receivers stay more healthy. If we can tighten up the offensive line, then you can stretch the field more, because you can give him more time to let plays develop. But right now, this is what we got to do, and it's working for him, and it's making the offensive line look better. Everybody's confidence level has risen, and this and that. And so as long as it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I look at it as the way we use the passing game now with some of the short passing stuff is almost like running the football. 7 yards here, 7 yards there. You keep the clock going, time of possession. You keep your defense off the field. They're getting rest. And at the end of you keep the other defense out there for 10, 12 plays, dragging them down the field. They get frustrated, and they got to go over there, and then we go 3 and out and come back out, and you got to do it again. So it's working. It's effective. And as long as we get the wins, that's all that matters.
Let's talk about your position. Let's talk about the O-line, okay? Liam Eichenberg, another rookie, has had some good games, had some bad games. And the O-line itself has, in my opinion, been the Achilles heel of anything that has been negative this year. At least that's where it started, right? And what are your thoughts on you go back, you hit the nail on the head, Richmond. You're winning the game. So how bad can it really be? But the reality is, and some people hate them or love them, right? Some people hate Pro Football, rankings, Pro Football Focus's rankings. Some people like it. They're at the bottom of the league, the offensive line. Can we make a playoff push the way the offensive line is currently constructed? And what do you want to see over the last 4 weeks with them?
Well, I think improvement is the main thing. Is you want to continually see, these guys pick it up. But like I said, it's been an Achilles heel, and this was my question mark. Even before the season started, was we had a bunch of young guys, and we knew that was definitely the area that we needed to improve. And I tell people all the time, it starts up front. If you're not winning up front and on your offensive defensive line, it just makes it tougher. So I think those guys know they need to play better. I think they played a little bit better, but I don't think they are playing at the level that we need to be considered a serious contender or competitor. So I think Coach Flores, I think everybody knows that. So right now we're doing good enough to get through the season, possibly playoffs, but I think this will definitely be addressed, whether it's coaching, whether it's bringing in, adding a player here, player there. I believe these issues will be addressed, because I think when you look at it and you see what Tua can do, and just imagine if he had time to do it, he could do things up. I think we have our quarterback. A lot of people wasn't sold on him or whatever. But if you put an offensive line around him, you're going to really see some things special. Even with Jalen Waddle, that guy runs 4.2, 4.3, but he can't stretch the field like he wants to. And everybody going to be happy. We just got to fix that up front. I'll just say it like that.
I 100% agree with that. Marcus J., who's been a member for 7 months on the channel. Shout out to Marcus.
What's up, Marcus?
He said, hey, need a better O-line coach first. Richmond, are you free?
I get that all the time on Twitter. And, man, it's different being a player than a coach. And I've never like coached, not even high school, little league or whatever. I know what to do, but to be able to do it, I would like to, if that was something I wanted to do, I'd like to study up under somebody, because to jump from not having any experience to the highest level and say, okay, make me the guy, that's a lot of pressure. And I just know sometimes you got to be.
Deion Sanders did it.
Yeah, but Deion coached in high school here in Dallas with his kids, this and that. So it's not that you don't understand it, but you got to, you put a staff around this and that. But I'm not saying you could do it, but I wouldn't want to be the sole offensive line. I could just look and say, okay, I see what you need to work on. I can help you with this and that. I don't necessarily have to be the guy out front. So, the system probably would be more than just say being, make me the offensive line coach, because I look at that and I want to see the team succeed just like everybody else. So I wouldn't want to be the guy that hold them back because I'm limited in that area a bit. I know the other part as far as fixing little things. Some things you can fix, but you got to get your mindset right, and that's one of the key things. And you can do that. I think that's it. But that's a huge commitment to go from not being a coach
to doing it.
That's rough. I appreciate it.
Hey man, let me let's talk about a little bit from a fan perspective. The playoffs, because here's a reality: if we win out, we finish 10-7.
Okay.
And I understand. I'm not asking you to come from a player standpoint, because I know the player standpoint is going to be one game at a time.
Yep.
Let's not talk about one game at a time, Richmond. Let's talk about we win the rest of the games and we finish 10-7 and we're right there in the playoff. Like, do you think it's plausible? Because here's the reality. These teams over the last 5 weeks are going to beat each other up. And it's not like these teams are going to, nobody's running away with the conference and or the division. So it's not, it's, I think a 10-7 team, maybe even a 9-8, maybe, but definitely a 10-7 team, maybe even two of them get into the playoffs this year. Why not the Dolphins?
I mean that is possible. If you get in, you're probably the 6th seed. Yeah, I got 6 spots, right?
Seven
7 spots now. So the only team that gets a bye is the top team. Is that how it is now?
Correct. Yep.
So number 2 would play 7. So you'd be on the
and
road.
That means we could play Buffalo, we could play Baltimore, we could play Kansas City, we could play the Titans again 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Buffalo kind of on a little slide.
They are.
They're on a little slide.
And did you watch the game on Monday night?
I did not watch it, but I heard that the winds was crazy, and I think New England threw 3 passes and won.
Is there a game that you can remember where like the game plan was thrown out the window because of weather conditions?
No. Okay. I can tell you this. I can remember, I think this was, and a lot of times you go back and watch film, but I think this was 88. It might have been the first year, and it's Hard Rock now. It was Joe Robbie back then. But I think the Dolphins played the Steelers, and watching the film, it was raining so hard that you couldn't, they had to hand the ball off. You couldn't throw it. I mean, it was like torrential rains. I was watching it on film. It was like, we couldn't, you watch it, you don't have the audio, but just seeing the way the rain was coming down was just.
It was bad.
That was
bad.
Yeah, that was bad. But I haven't been in a game like that. I don't believe.
Were you in the Leon Lett Thanksgiving game?
I was there. Yeah,
What was that game like, in the snow and all those conditions? And I mean, that had to have been a crazy game in Dallas, right?
Yeah, that was the old Dallas. I grew up in Dallas, so that was the old. It was Irving Stadium, and the cool thing about kind of like the Dolphins Stadium, where they got the shield where it kind of keeps the fans out of the heat, and then the sun beams. But it was just a cutout circle in Irving Stadium. And it wasn't snow; it was actually like sleeted, so it was ice on the field. So no traction, but it was cold, but it wasn't like real windy or nothing where he was like, "Oh man!" So close game, and I remember Keith Byers broke a long run and scored a touchdown in that game.
Yep.
And it came down to the end, and I remember we lined up for the field goal. And, the footing was terrible, and they blocked the field goal, and it started rolling. And so I'm sitting there just looking, and then you see Leon kind of come in and slide in between people and try to grab the ball. And then
what was he thinking?
But this was a crazy thing. I seen like Burt Widener, Ron Heller, they start running toward the football. I'm like, what they doing? I'm like, the game over. If it was me, we would have been in trouble because I was just like, what are you doing? And then everybody started trying to jump on the ball. And I was like, okay. And then I looked at the replay, and because I guess if we covered it, that would have been a touchdown or whatever, but you couldn't tell because of snow. So what they did, we lined up and kicked it again and won it. But the funny part, it was funny, but it wasn't funny, was when you looked at the monitor up in the stadium, and you could see like Jerry Jones and Jimmy Jones, they was jumping up, and then they stopped jumping. And it was like,
that's such a cool little perspective.
Yeah, that was a good memory. And the thing about that game, I remember, I think we were both like 9-2 or whatever like that. And after we played that game, people were kind of projecting that we would possibly meet in the Super Bowl. But that was the last game we won that year.
I know you guys. Marino was hurt. Was hurt.
One more game, and we were in the playoffs, and we lost 5. So it was.
Sounds familiar, Richmond. Yeah, sounds very familiar of the last few years for the team.
Yeah.
I forget who your quarterback was because Marino was hurt. It was who was your quarterback? It
was Steve DeBerg, huh?
Steve DeBerg. Yep.
Yeah.
What was he like?
He was cool. He was he wasn't Marino, but
well, I know that, Richmond. Of course, he wasn't no Marino, but still, he had a long tenure in the NFL.
He had a long tenure. I remember him with KC and all that, but he came in, won some games and stuff. So I was cool with that. Anybody that was going to war with, I was cool. So he wasn't a bad guy. I like Steve Burke. He's cool.
So, hey, let's kind of fast forward a little bit, or actually, I want to change gears just for a second, and I want to talk totally. I'm going to get back to Dolphins here in a second, okay. But I'm just curious. You're a college football guy. You like college football.
I love college football.
What do you think about the seedings? I am curious to get your thoughts on that. That Alabama finished with a loss and still finished number 1. They're facing Cincinnati. I think the reality is the committee just didn't want to see Georgia and Alabama play again in that first round, but that's how it should have happened, right? Like Cincinnati should have finished first. They were undefeated.
Finished first?
They were undefeated. Richmond?
Don't do that. Don't do that, Steve.
Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on,
they're good, but come on, bro. And,
nice.
And
do you think Alabama should have finished first?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
3 beats
they play
1.
The SEC?
3 beats 1. What top team has Cincinnati beat? I know they went undefeated. I'm not hating on them. What top team had they beat?
Who? Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I mean, they only played one team, I think, in the top 10 the whole year. Maybe 2.
So before I would put Cincinnati 1, I would have put Michigan 1. They played higher ranked teams than than Cincinnati.
Okay, so I'll take that argument, Richmond.
Yeah.
Michigan shouldn't have been Alabama.
Okay. So what's your seeding order?
I mean, if
one,
no. I'll take Michigan as 1. I'll go Michigan 1, Cincinnati 2, Alabama 3, Georgia 4. I even think that you could probably make an argument for Notre Dame. But the issue is Notre Dame always hurts themselves because they're never in a champ, in a conference.
So if you put Notre Dame in there, who you take out?
I mean, Georgia, I guess. And it's sad to say. Because I look at the SEC championship game as its own playoff game. Own playoff game.
Okay.
Right? So, both those teams are going to be good. But they're here's the reality, Richmond. I don't want to see Georgia and Alabama in the national championship game.
Why not?
Because I already saw it 3 weeks ago.
But why are you penalizing them? Because they've both got really good teams. Because this is what it sounds like you're doing.
So here's something, Richmond. Let me ask you a question here, sir.
Come on.
If we were in the old playoff rankings, right?
Okay.
Whoever lost that game would be out, right? So we would just see Michigan versus Alabama probably for the national championship game. Then would you agree?
Oh, you saying before the college playoff system?
Before the college playoff system, yes.
What it was? I'm trying to remember before what was. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
We would just see Michigan. It would just
be right. It'd be Michigan, Alabama. Right.
It would be Michigan, Alabama.
Right. I agree.
And maybe Cincinnati gets in, but they're not overstepping Michigan.
It'd be Michigan. It'd be Michigan and Alabama.
Okay, so I don't want to see a game. So here's another thing too. I personally think it should be 6 teams in the playoffs.
Why?
I think the way that you should do it is you should have the 4 play against each other, right? So 2 and 2, and then those 2 teams get a bye week. The top 2 teams get a bye week, right? Play them closer together towards the end of the season, by the way, and then you go ahead and you play a national championship game. So there should be 6 teams because I think it's bad that we penalize Notre Dame for not being in a conference because I think they are good. And normally a team like Cincinnati won't get in. Normally a team like Cincinnati won't get in.
They was in it last year, right?
Who, Notre Dame? Yes, they were.
Okay.
I'm just saying normally.
But normally last year.
You're bringing an anomaly into it.
I'm just bringing in, put it like this. It's 4. You got to deal with the hand you dealt. And I keep hearing people say, well, we need to go to 6, we need to go to 8. And I hear that. The only way I look at it is there's a lot of wear and tear on those college kids' body. Every game you got to play, there's more wear and tear. So after a while, they'll be playing just as many games as a professional football player will. What's the difference?
Well, I mean, hey, they're getting paid now.
I mean, you got to play, 15, 16 games to decide who's the
I thought it was 13 or 14 for college football, right? 13 or 14 games.
It's getting close to 15. I know it's probably because you got to think a lot of teams play a kickoff classic game or something. I'd have to look at their records, but I think it's close to 15 games you play.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, I mean, hey, look, here's the thing. Since in this current playoff system, Cincinnati gets a chance to make a run at it, which is fair. They should.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you also get an opportunity that if you lose the SEC championship game, you're still a top 4 team in the country because the SEC is the best conference in football.
Well, they was 1 and 3. If put it like Alabama and Georgia. The only reason Alabama got in is because they won. If they lost, they out.
100%.
Yeah.
You're right.
They beat the number 1 team. They did what they had to do to stay in there.
I can't stand Nick Saban, man. I can't stand Alabama. They win. They just consistently win.
I'm an Aggie fan, die hard, this and that. And I tell people this about, and I get why a lot of Dolphin fans don't like Nick Saban. I get it, blah, blah, blah. But with Alabama, a lot of people say they don't like Alabama. But what I truly think it is I think most people want their college teams to be like an Alabama, to be dominant. If your team is like Alabama, you don't have an issue with it. But I think most people want, because I want if my Aggies had won 6, 7 national championships,
you'd be bragging too.
Already. Great school, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But people wouldn't like us because we've been that dominant in college football.
Did you guys make a bowl game this year?
Yeah, we're going to the Gator Bowl. We're playing Wake Forest.
Are you going?
No. I'm going to watch that one on TV.
Okay. Hey, man, like I tell people all the time, like, bowl games are great. We have a sponsor, Tail Greeter, and they're sponsoring a bowl in Orlando in a week, the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl, and they're also being a part sponsor of the Boca Raton Bowl, and we'll be at that game. That's the Jets weekend. Western Kentucky University versus Appalachian State, the Boca Raton Bowl, on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to be there. But yeah, I love college bowl season. Bowl season's the best.
Sometimes I think they got too many bowl games.
It's the Emerald Nut City Bowl, the Meineke Carr Bowl, the YouTube Bowl. Like, you just name anything, boy. They'll take anybody's money. The Miami Sports Music Bowl. That's gonna happen one day, just so y'all know.
You know, Stephen D, the thing is, and I look at it, I guess it's good for kids to have an experience. But, you know, when I played, you didn't have all these, you had bowl games. We had quite a few, but it's like now you can go 6-6 or whatever and go to a bowl game.
As long as you're 6-6, you can go to a bowl game.
And I'm like, you need to have a little bit better record than that, I think. You know, I don't know.
I think if you have more than 4 losses, you shouldn't go to a bowl.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
I think 4 losses is okay.
Yeah.
You know, but the reality is there's 150 bowls, right? And so you know, you gotta bring in those teams. Let me ask you a question, man, because you're a college football guy. I'm a big fan of Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders. No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say Deion Sanders and what he's done at Jackson State University and for the HBCUs, man.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Deion Sanders and the HBCU, you know, just effect on college football and how I don't know if you know this or not. So before Deion Sanders got there to Jackson State, they had 46 top 1,000 high school recruits visit the program the year before as potential people to the program, right? Deion Sanders got 200 plus of the top 1,000 high school recruits to visit Jackson State. That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's no D1 schools pulling that number.
Yeah.
So, like, I think he is doing so much, not only for HBCUs, but just in general. I think he's a great coach. I just wanted to get your thoughts about Deion coaching Jackson State.
Well, I think it's good. You know, he won the SWAC, which is congratulations on that. No Deion. And I think the thing is he's bringing exposure to kids that possibly were getting overlooked. And there are some kids that can play that could actually make it to the NFL. I'm not saying it's going to be a bunch of first rounders, but, you know, Strahan went to Texas Southern. Several guys have come out of historically black colleges and done exceptionally well in the NFL. So I think the thing he's doing is he's making the NFL say, hey, don't just overlook these guys. We got some players. And the other thing I've noticed is I think even with Deion or Coach Prime or whatever, he had, you know how, like, say, guys graduate early and then go to another school. I think he's had a couple of kids come from other schools, D1, big schools, to come and play at Jackson State. So it's good, and it's good for the school because I'm sure attendance is up at the football games.
Yep.
It helps drive revenue to the school and that. So it's a great thing. I have no issue with it.
Do you think he takes a big job like FSU or something in the future after his sons leave, or do you think he stays at HBC? You do, okay. I think that's the general consensus. People think he will.
Yeah.
My hope is that he doesn't. I actually want him to stay there, and I want him to make an HBCU a powerhouse program that could compete, with these top tier teams. And I think it's unlikely, but I think with Deion, it's plausible. It's plausible.
He could make it to where teams are really questioning of, do I want to put Jackson State on the schedule because they could actually come in and beat us, and they don't mind playing schools like that, but it's almost like a guarantee. Yeah, you don't want to bring in somebody.
Speaking of the Boca Raton Bowl, Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Remember when Appalachian State upset Michigan, number 2 in the country, like 10 years ago or 11 years ago? Yeah. Nobody wanted to put Appalachian State on their schedule.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to get embarrassed like that.
They don't want to get embarrassed. It's a good thing for the school, but it's a bad thing because those small schools need that revenue to help, supplement other sports and stuff. But people not going to bring you in and they'll
get embarrassed. No.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling. Yeah.
All right, man. Let's go back to the Dolphins real quick before I get you out of here. I know you don't have too much longer with us. I appreciate you talking some college football with me because I do love me some college football, and I'm excited for the bowl games, man.
Who's your team?
I mean, I got to root for the U, baby. Mario Cristobal.
Okay.
Mario Cristobal. I think he's going to be he's a great hire, right?
Yeah.
I think he brings legitimacy to the program, and they brought in Clemson's athletic director, which is always, look at what they've done the last, 5 years.
Well, and I was talking to a buddy of mine. Neither one of us have affiliation with the U, but I know all about the U. And, when I was in college and even out there in my early years in the Dolphins, the U knew they were good. They were intimidating. They was unapologetic. And they tell you, yeah, we're going to go out there and beat you. But then I guess people was like, oh, we need to clean up the program, this and that. I'm like, hey, man, this is who the U is. This is who we are. This is who we've been being. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They was winning national championships. And a lot of that talent that was down in South Florida, going to Georgia, going to Alabama, where they just had – you really didn't have to – you could recruit South Florida, and it's just that much talent down there. But people don't realize it, but it's just – so hopefully they can get it turned back around. I know a couple guys I've seen, like Benny Blades. He was old school head, but, I was back with the Mike Irvin days and, the old –
I tell people all the time, it's just like – so with the NBA is better with the Knicks better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just a funner league to watch. Same thing with college football. Whether you love them or you hate them, when the U is good, it's more fun to watch college football.
Yeah.
It's more interesting.
I told me and my buddies talking, I can remember, and I played with Lamar Thomas. I remember LT used to catch a touchdown, take his helmet off where people could see him and run through they was Randall Hill had the Superman and he would do his. They was just cocky, but if you didn't show up, they was going to show you was a lesser opponent. They wasn't going to apologize. If they put 50 on you, it was because it was your fault. It wasn't theirs. And just, hey, that's what it is.
Hey, man, I hope the U turns out to be a lot better with Mario Cristobal than they were with Manny Diaz because, man, I just want to see them do good. All right, Dolphins. Dolphins have a bye week.
Yep.
Why are bye weeks this late in the year? Like, it scares me, man. It scares me with the world that we live in, that I don't want to get no stupid headline on my phone about a player getting, messing up, getting arrested, anything like that. What is a coach, or what did Shula might say to you guys back in the day during bye weeks about, hey, stay out of trouble and stuff like that?
You know what? It ain't got nothing to do with the bye week when you're in Miami. It ain't got
That's
nothing.
what I'm saying.
It has nothing. If that's the only week you're worried about, that's a big problem now. Yeah. If you want to get into trouble, Miami is always it don't shut down.
It don't sleep. It don't sleep.
Everybody can't handle that. So don't blame it on the bye week. That's the first thing I say, because I played there. I understand. If you want to get in trouble, it's easy, this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's just, you got to stay focused, this and that. And so that's never really been my concern. The concern is just hoping you don't get that call any day of the week that, hey, somebody's been arrested or something like that. But I think we'll be fine through the bye week. So yeah.
But what do you? My question to you is though, what does does a coaching staff say anything? Do players hold players accountable? Ones that might be more of the rowdy bunch. Does some of the guys go, hey, why don't you come stay with me for the weekend and we'll just hang out at the house?
I think the coach is always going, hey, take care of your business. Let's be smart, be responsible. I think the thing you do is, hey, if you're going out and you have too much to drink, call an Uber or whatever, this and that. We had a security guy when I was at Stu Weinstein, and situation like just call him and he'll either have somebody come pick up. Back then they have Uber, you have to get a taxi or something, but it's better to do that than to say,
what happened with Henry Ruggs, and that whole situation was messed up,
and it's just, yeah, and I feel bad for not only, the person that got killed, this and that, and I tell people, man, when you're young, we've all made mistakes, and I think the thing is sometimes alcohol along with when you're young, you just think you're invincible. You know what I'm saying?
You're Superman. Nothing can touch you.
Because I've been there, done it. Like, I'm all right. This and that. Really, you really not all right. But you just used to the way you really program. Even when you think you hurt, you just say, no, I'm all right. Even though you might be hurt. So I think that's the thing that kicks in. And then to have a sports car like that, I mean, you're going to want to mash on it every now and then. If you're going to be honest with yourself, you're going to open it up. And, I love Corvettes, even though I can't really fit in them. I love them. And they just, man, when you hear them crank up, or I'll be driving and you hear somebody and I love the way a Mustang sounds when the Mustang just got a deeper growl if it's got that V8 in it. But when you hear somebody get in it, man, it's just like music to my ears. I'm like, well, I hope they don't get caught.
I got to ask this. What was the first car you ever bought with your first NFL paychecks?
Man, I had a BMW 535, which is equivalent to the 550 now. 5-speed, this and that. Yeah.
You thought you were, oh yeah, all right.
Had it rimmed up and all that. It's I'll have to find a link on YouTube. I did a little video inside the NFL with Brian Burwell back in the day. Me and Keith Sam.
Did you? That's awesome.
Find it. I'm gonna text it to you so
yeah, I'll share that. I want to play that. That's awesome, dude. It was funny. So the very first time I ever went to a Dolphins game, was oh man, my son is 7, so it was 8 or 9 years ago. I'd never been to a Dolphins game in Miami.
Okay.
And my wife called me. I go down to Florida. I'm there by myself. My wife stays in Florida. And Solo and I, at this time, were still we were cool, but we weren't doing as much stuff. This is like 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so I go down for the game and I stay at the team hotel where the old Shula's, there was a Shula's steakhouse inside that hotel. You remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, Miami Lakes. Yeah, we used to stay. I know where you at.
Yep. So the team stayed there. I didn't know that the team stayed there.
Yeah.
Right. So where my room was at was on the side where the players' parking lot is.
Okay.
And those windows in that hotel can open up.
Yeah.
So I check into the hotel and I start seeing, people come in, like former players and current players. And I'm like, what is going on here? And so remember, I'm a fan at this point. I'm in heaven. I wake up the morning and I look out my window and I see the players like going to breakfast in the little thing and then coming out and going to their cars. By the way, the cars, oh my God, some of the stuff that was in the parking lot were crazy. I think Mike Wallace was playing for the team at the time and had this white Lamborghini, and it was gorgeous, right? So I open up my window and I have my mini helmet, and the players are coming to my window, going up to the cars, signing autographs on the helmet and everything, man. It was awesome. But that was the same day I also found out. My wife called me that morning. She's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, I'm getting players' autographs. What do you want? And she's like, I got something to tell you. I took a pregnancy test. Okay. She's like, I took 2 pregnancy tests. I was like, okay. She's like, we're having a son, or we're having a kid. And I was like, oh my God. So I found the day I went to my very first Miami Dolphins game, I found out I was having my first kid. True story.
You the man. That's what I'm talking about. You scored before the team scored. You see?
It was we lost that game on a last second field goal to Justin Tucker and the Ravens that game. But I was on the field. It was when you still had like field passes and everything.
Yeah.
But it was cool, man. Like I'll remember that day for the rest of my life. It was awesome.
You tell Solo, man. I love that Waddle song, man.
You do, right? You like it?
Tell him he ripped that one, dog. He did that. Yeah.
he does such a good job, man. All right, hey Richmond, you got I didn't realize you had another podcast, man. You do a Aggies and Dolphins podcast too.
Me and Robert Wilson. I keep forgetting to tweet about it before we go on, but yeah, it's Gig'em guys with Miami ties, and it ain't that serious. We kind of just go with the stats of the games, this and that, and just talk a little bit of football. But I don't have none of the backstories or the gossip. I don't want to do that. We got enough people doing that. So we get on there and talk, and then sometimes we'll go live and try to interact with the fans. So we just having fun with it. But yeah.
I like it. And then you have the finish line.
Had a finish line with Reason and Ball Game. So
shout out to Reason. Shout out to Ball Game.
I got to give Reason. Reason is a hip hop.
He's a hip hop head.
But I had to try to poke at him a little bit and try to act like he don't know about the old school stuff. Yeah, that's my man. So I think I'm gonna come up with something. I think we're gonna tape tonight, so I'll come up with something to see if I can get his blood pressure up a little bit.
Have you watched the new Wu-Tang show?
I have not watched it. It's pretty good.
It's amazing, man.
Really?
Amazing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, man. No doubt. So
I love me some Method Man.
RZA, all them, man. I love Wu-Tang. What was your first concert like you ever went to?
My first concert, you said like rap?
Like hip hop, yeah, hip hop.
Hip hop. I went to go see I've seen MC Hammer. I'll tell you the one that I seen that was like I got backstage passes it was in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl, and it was Master P and the No Limit family.
Oh,
and I met like the dude name was Boz, but Anthony. He was like one of the top soldiers. He was like one of the managers, this and that. And he was like, he sat by me. We was flying to Dallas, and we just struck up a conversation. He said, "Well, we're gonna have a concert. You want to go? I'll get you a couple tickets, this and that." And man, hooked me up with backstage passes, and that's when I seen like. I didn't know Master P, Silk the Shocker, and C Murder. That was their names. But
woo!
They were just about as tall as I was. I didn't know they were that tall, and I was like,
I didn't know C Murder was. I knew Silk the Shocker was tall, but I didn't know C Murder was.
They was tall, and I was glad I was backstage because out front. Man, they was lighting up, and the laws was there, but it was like you couldn't arrest all of them. I was like, man, it is going down up in here. It was
at the Cotton Bowl back in the day too.
Cotton Bowl,
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it, man. God, you bringing up some good memories, man. All right, man, we could talk for hours, man. I love you. I love having you on. You're such a big friend of the program. That takeover was cool, right? I got a lot of great feedback about you being on that takeover show.
That was my man Juice looked like he had a ball. Him and Steph, man, them boys, and they had a great time. So I got to try to make it up to Jersey or the Meadowlands or whatever. But that was off the chain. I can imagine. I seen OJ playing catch with some kid in the parking lot and all that. And then the party I was at the hotel, it was just, I said, oh, this is lit. This is fire right here.
Man, it's so much fun. Shout out to Dolphins NYC. It's a lot of fun, but man, let me tell you, man, it's good stuff. Hey, I don't know if you're making it to any more games this year. I don't know if you are, but if you do, I will be at the Jets and I will be at the Patriots game. I'd love to see if you end up coming to town last minute or anything. But you know, when the Dolphins make the playoffs, and they will make the playoffs, Richmond. Okay, they will.
You get no argument from me. I'm riding with you, brother.
We might be going to wherever that is too. So
turn that
I'll let you know.
Song up. Turn that water song. Let's see if we can bust these speakers. Turn that water song up.
Hey man, you know what? I might have to find that for you real quick before you. If you stay on, I'll find it before we get out. I didn't have it loaded up in the deck.
Okay.
But look, man, where can people find you on social media?
Social media, you know, I'm on Twitter at Richmond Webb on Facebook, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and get me a IG page. So,
moving on up in the world, Richmond.
My wife trying to move me up, so I think I'm gonna get that. So if Richmond Webb is available, that's what I'll get. But I'll definitely let you know. But Twitter, Richmond Webb, and Facebook, Richmond Webb. It's easy.
Guys, go follow the man, the myth, the legend. Hey, last thing, you need to be in the Hall of Fame, man. Like what's up, man?
Well, I'm hoping Zach get there. You know, I can't do nothing about this year, but Zach made the semi.
He made the cut.
Get him the finals, and let's get another Dolphin in there. So I was definitely happy he made it, and I think he'll make the final. I think he had a pretty good shot, but it's tough. But let's get Zach in there, man, and then we'll cross that bridge next. But we got one on the hook, so let's try to reel him in.
Do you know how that whole process works? Just out of curiosity.
I know they tell the fans to vote and this and that, but I don't think that carries as much weight as
the committee,
the committee or the media that votes on it. This and that. Yeah, but I don't. To answer your question, I don't. But I think the fan vote kind of counts, but I don't think.
I think it counts when they get down to whoever the finalists are going to be, right?
Okay.
And the reality is, and let me pull this up on the screen for people. If you look here, hashtag get Richmond Webb, hashtag get Richmond in HOF. When you guys, I want you guys to use that hashtag and then tag the NFL Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio, all that. You need to tag all those people when you guys use that hashtag. Hashtag get Richmond in HOF. And I think that if we had a campaign that we were willing to really, hey, let's dive into this for a long time and let's really make this happen, especially around the time the committee starts voting at the beginning of the football season. I think that would make a difference if we got everybody on board. We need to get the fan bases from Cincinnati on board. We need to get the Texas Aggies community on there too, and get everybody on board. I might have to organize this thing, Richmond. I might have to get everybody on board.
You got it, Stephen D.
I love you, Richmond, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I'll have you on again soon.
Okay, sounds good, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Be easy.
All right.
Clap Blackers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show. It has been so much fun today. Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me today. I hope you all really, really enjoyed everything. I enjoyed everything. It was a lot of fun. I want to give a big special thanks to the guest today, Daniel Oyefusi of the Miami Herald, Richmond Webb. Richmond has always supported everything. It was awesome. I had such a good time today. Thank you so much for joining the show. Tomorrow, Spread Kindness Fridays. We're pretty much just going to do a panel on Spread Kindness Friday tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have my man Cameron on with me, but that'll be a lot of fun. So make sure y'all do that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all today. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I hope y'all really enjoyed it. Make sure you share this link, tell people about it, and let people know, hey, look, Stephen D. Clap Blackers, #1 Miami fan morning show. All right. Hit that like button, share, donate to the channel, help the channel grow. You know what I will do for Richmond, though? I got to play this. I will play it one time for him. Let me pull up the Waddle song I'll play the Waddle song for him. I got to play the Waddle song for him, right? Right? Let me pull it up. Share it on the screen. And there we go. There we go. All right. Here we go. Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Your boy Stephen D. Donate to the channel while the song is going. We're out.
If you're down with the fans, let me see you jets. If you want to water, let me see you jets. If you had the hard ride, let me see you jets. Get some space, get some space, get some space, kinda.
Waddle with it, 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 waddle with it. Waddle with it, 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 waddle with it.
That's first down. Yeah, yeah. That's touchdown. Yeah, yeah. You want more? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Dolphins, won't you throw it up? Won't you throw it up? You in that east side, gon' throw it up. Gon' throw it up. What about that west side? Gon' throw it up. Gon' throw it up. Over in that yellow line, gon' throw it up. Won't you throw it up? If you down with them fans, let me see you jump. If you wanna water, let me see you jump. If you had the hard ride, let me see you jump.
Do that waddle. Shake it, shake it.
If you down with them fans, let me see you jump. If you wanna water, let me see you jump. If you had the hard ride, let me see you jump.
Do that waddle. Shake it, shake it. Waddle with it, 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 waddle with it. Waddle with it, 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 waddle with it.
That's first down. Yeah, yeah. That's touchdown. Yeah, yeah. You want more? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Clap Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show. If you want to donate to the channel, the links are in the description. I will see y'all tomorrow on Spread Kindness Friday.
Shake it, shake it.
Love y'all. Peace out.
So low, deep.